In 2017, Ninja Theory released one of my favorite games of all time in Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, a game that masterfully combined Norse mythology and the struggles of mental health into an impactful and emotional narrative. I've replayed the game twice since then, including just earlier this year, and Senua's journey resonates with me so much that it remains powerful even on subsequent playthroughs. So, with all that said, it's safe to say that I've been eagerly anticipating Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 ever since it was revealed at the Game Awards with the Series X 4 years ago. Well, it has finally arrived, and boy, do I have some thoughts. Before we get to my thoughts about the game, though, if you're new to the channel and like gaming podcasts and reviews, why not hit that subscribe button? So let's start with the obvious. Hellblade 2 is undoubtedly the most visually stunning game to come out this generation. No other game comes close to the visual fidelity that is on display in this game. Ninja Theory have meticulously crafted everything to be a showcase. Landscapes, lighting, facial expressions, and every combat animation is a spectacle to behold. And this is the game that we've been asking for, something that utilizes Unreal Engine 5 and pushes visual fidelity to its highest limit. Now, if you're coming into Hellblade 2 expecting a fundamentally different experience to the previous game, you're gonna be disappointed. The gameplay loop is very similar to that of the first game, meaning a lot of walking, broken up by puzzles and combat encounters. The Find the Rune puzzles from the first game return throughout Hellblade 2, where you'll be lining up those shapes, the random objects in the environment. There are a few new puzzles sprinkled in, but to be honest, they aren't amazing. Most of the puzzles involve lighting braziers to reveal new paths, or this new puzzle where you can shift reality and collect orbs to put on a pedestal, neither of which, in my opinion, are as memorable as something, say, the gate puzzle from the original Hellblade, shifting reality, having things change. That sticks in my mind so much more than anything from this game. I also think that might be intentional. It's clear that Ninja Theory listened to the feedback regarding the puzzles from the first game, but I think they might have overcorrected, as a lot of the puzzles are mind numbingly easy and take almost no time to complete. I really do think they dumbed down the puzzles in this one. Plus, the voices in your head kind of give you a lot of hints on how to complete things. But let's chat gameplay because I might have a hot take. I think the combat in Hellblade 2 is objectively worse than Hellblade 1. Hellblade 2 simplified an already simple combat system. Senua feels more sluggish, like she's struggling to even swing the sword, which might be more realistic, but it's certainly not more fun to play. Compared to the first, where she felt much more swift with her strikes, gone is the ability to sprint and knee enemies in the face or even kick them to break their guards. You're now left with a normal and heavy attack, a god awful dodge, and a parry that seems to rarely work, especially when compared to the first game, where I thought parrying was actually fantastic. While the actual combat is a step back for me personally, one thing Hellblade 2 does add is brutality. Combat is so visceral and gory. Since enemies now come at you in a one on one manner, every fight is ended with Senua performing what is essentially a Mortal Kombat finishing move. It's incredibly satisfying as you rarely see a repeated death animation. The audio design remains best in class with a stunning, beautiful soundtrack accompanying eerily disturbing voices in Senua's head, constantly filling each headphone with words of doubt or hints on where to go. But let's talk about what is probably the most important part of Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, the story. It's really hard for me to put into words how I feel about Hellblade 2's story. Once again, Ninja Theory is combining Norse mythology with Senua's struggles with psychosis, but Hellblade's 2 story is about so much more than her mental illness. Without spoiling anything, and we will have a spoiler cast, in my interpretation, Hellblade 2 is about defying destiny and not letting your genetics, your past, your mental illness decide your future. If the first game was about Senua's coming to grips with the loss of her loved one Dillian and accepting who she is, then Hellblade 2 is really a journey of self discovery for Senua, who Senua really is. Senua sort of casts herself in this savior role in Hellblade 2. She's the chosen one, the only one that can save her new friends from the evil impacting their lands. And taken at face value, that's fine. But when you consider her psychosis, that most of what Senua sees isn't actually happening, it makes me question how much of this is real at all. I do think Senua has an incredibly fulfilling character arc in this game, especially as it goes on, and you start to draw parallels between obstacles that she's overcoming and relationships with past past trauma. That is why I say this is Senua's coming out party. She's acknowledging her mental illness. She's facing the trauma of her past and deciding that neither of those things will define her actions. None of those things define who she is. It's something we, or at least I, can relate to. And Ninja Theory just seems to know how to subtly build and plant these seeds that pay off throughout the game. I don't know if this is the end of Senua's journey, but I certainly hope it isn't. I loved Hellblade 2. So much that I got the 100% yesterday on release day in what was essentially 2 sittings for my 7.5 hour playtime. That said, Hellblade 2 isn't a perfect sequel, and while overall I don't think it's a better game than the original, it's certainly an amazing game that stands on its own 2 feet. The visuals, audio, and story alone make this an easy recommendation, although I recognize that lackluster combat and puzzles may make this a hard sell for everyone. But let me know your thoughts down below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button for more reviews like this. Until next time, I've been Kevin for Save the Game Media. See ya.